Hey YouTube, so I finally had my swords arrive from Armour class and I thought I'd give you my first impressions, little mini review. There'll probably be more testing in the future, but these are the three swords I've got. I have two blunts for sparring and, oops, good thing it's got a roll tip. And I have a sharp one for test cutting and that kind of thing. So, first off, looks. Personally, I'm really happy with the way they look for the price. I paid £600 for all three swords. A little bit of a bargain for buying a small batch. They might not be feeling so generous when you see them. But yeah, I'll give you a little close-up of the hilt so you can see what they look like. It's fairly immaculate to me. And customization, is it still recording?
Yeah.
Customization, so first thing, rather than a 29-inch blade, I got a 36 and I got the tip rolled slightly. So the blade is about 35.5, so just a tiny bit longer than the Rawlings Synthetics sparring swords. I also decided to have it left-handed, so normally the right-handed ones, this bit here isn't on there, you've just got this side, and what they did is they just made it ambidextrous. They put one of those on either side. And that will make it have a bit more of a resale value than if I just had them left-handed. So yeah, also got the tip roll to make them safer for sparring, and as you can see they've got a good amount of flex, and that does make it quite safe. The sword would probably snap in half before it was able to actually go through you. That isn't saying the blades are weak, they seem pretty strong and sturdy, but they really do feel very nice and safe. That there'll be more testing of that later. So as for the specs, £3 2 ounces, point of balance 4 inches from the hilt. So yeah, towards the heavy end for one-handed swords, but given its length, it's pretty reasonable, and considering its point of balance is so close to the hilt, it handles really nice and nimbly. Obviously I can't go too fast in here due to having stuff around, but believe me, it does feel very nice and nimble in the hand. You can move it around with no problem, and it feels sturdy enough whilst it's swinging. It's just when it comes to actually thrusting, it will bend nicely to prevent injuries. So moving on to the sharp sword. So here's a look at the blade. Nice and pointy, good shape there. We have two fullers on either side of the blade. And this is 3 ounces lighter than the other sword, so £2.15, and the point of balance is 3 inches rather than 4 inches, so this feels even smoother in the hand. So moving on to the testing then. Okay, do it really hard inside. Harder. Okay, feels pretty safe. Stuff in the start. Hard. Okay, harder. Yep, seems fine. Test it without this. Seems pretty safe to me. Okay, snapping in the side, very hard. Again, hard. Okay, give me a little stab. Harder than that. Not that little.
I'm making him think hang on, can I just put hands?
Yeah.
I didn't They are.
Reasonably safe. I think I would prefer the canvasser.
Yeah.
Good amount of flex, so it's quite.
Yes, yeah.
It's quite
What's
safe
it made
for
of?
thrusting. Probably spring steel, I'd guess, by looking at it. Try the other edge. I thought we call it razor sharp.
No. That one side sharp and never.
Let's try the back edge. So yeah. It does cut paper, but I would hardly call this razor sharp.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to try some test cutting against this leather band brace which I made a while ago. Just a quick thrust and a quick cut, so if you hold it. So most of the time what I see in test cutting seems to be these really big swings, which the sort of thing you might do against an unarmed civilian. They're not the sort of attacks you do if you're actually dueling. So I'm going to go for some quicker attacks and the sort of thing which you would actually do whilst dueling instead. We'll start off with a little thrust from a medium guard. See if it makes it all the way through. I definitely felt it go through something then, but let's try that again. Okay, he doesn't want to stand up very well. Well, it's leaking, so it's definitely went through quite nicely. But obviously a human body would have far more resistance, but even with 1.5 pounds of resistance there, it clearly managed to get through 2 layers of leather and a thick piece of plastic. So let's try a little cut. So I'll just do a little one. Knock the band brace off. Any visible damage there? Yes, let's just keep that rolling a sec. Right, so see it managed to cut through from there all the way to there, and it's probably not showing up too well in the camera there. But that would have left a pretty nasty gash if it was to hit a person like that. Okay, so final thoughts then. For the price, I think these are very, very hard to beat. However, you will have to wait a very long time for them to be delivered. Customer service, very, very good speaking to them over email, but they do have very, very thick Scottish accents, which unfortunately are very difficult to understand. And that's just how it is, unfortunately. There's nothing wrong with that. I just find them very difficult to understand. But the staff members I spoke to did seem to be very, very knowledgeable, and over email they respond very quickly, and I cannot fault them in their email responding. So as for the testing, further tests will need to be done. I need to test this in a sparring context. The sharp thrusting seems to work pretty damn well. Don't have any problems with that. Cutting, it behaves really quite poorly. It wasn't hugely sharp out of the box, as you can see from the paper cutting, but potentially it could hold a much better edge if I took the time to sharpen it properly. So that will have to wait for further testing. So yeah, as for the price, brilliant. I really think they're hard to beat for their price. They're weighted beautifully, balanced really nicely, and I think you would struggle to get something better for the price. So thanks for watching, comment, rate, subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Bye.